We will continue with proper motivation from Bodhayanti Parasparam, Volume 4, Chapter 20. I will just repeat the two paragraphs more for the continuation. So I'll start with
Before ये कौन सा पैराग्राफ पीछे वाला
this one. When we seek
no एक वो उससे पहले 346 में all traditions stated nature of ultimate cause is light, however differently they might have described the same. Asks us to accept the idea of light but not in any form, and also say it is light without luminosity. That is the finest and subtlest thought we can maintain. So I want Mukesh to come in and share his. Today we read a small sentence written by Babuji to one Abhyasi. Mukesh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You can just share that word so that people will get benefited.
Yeah. So I think the sentence was: assume that the divine light, like meditate on the presence of the light in the heart, not on the light in the heart. So there is a very subtle difference that the light is already present; it's always there, right? So I think that has made a huge difference in understanding and also the practice.
Today morning we are just reading a letter of Babuji, which Mukesh says. Babuji says that you meditate that divine light exists in the heart, no? Instead of meditating on the divine light, you feel that it exists in the heart. That is the idea.
subtle difference, but yeah, important.
But a lot of advantage is there if you think. Meditate on the idea that divine light exists in the heart. Okay.
Yeah, you can read this.
Okay, we'll read now. Yes.
Okay. So we'll start from here. When we seek oneness with the Master, we understand that Master is not an external wisdom personality, but is essentially our internal sap, which is the same as the Master. The fallacy of meditation on the form of the Master as external to us is what makes the method itself meaningless. When we adopt this method, we should relate to Master as the embodiment of our own fundamental nature, even as the last part of the prayer suggests. It is true in some techniques that we adopt in cleaning processes. We visualize the Master above our heads and we externalize him. Nevertheless, because we are fundamentally viewing him as the embodiment of all perfections, of all the masters, which nature is what we strive for in our own essential nature, and we wish to reveal this nature by removing the dirt and stains which obscure our true and real nature. It is not an act of externalization. In the meditation on the form of the Master, apart from imagining that our true nature and that of the Master, we get merged. We need to think of our body as his body, our speech as his speech, and our mind as his mind. Such a holistic and organismic and integral concept of Master is the basic format or basic technique of the meditation on the form of the Master. This should not be confused with any two or three-dimensional versions of the form of Master who lived with us as one of us. The most essential and fundamental characteristic of this meditation is the awareness that Master embodies the peace and the all-encompassing love and complete compassion. When we were asked to love the one who loves all, he was hinting this. The main advantage when we visualize ourselves as master is we are not merely thinking of our body as a different type of body. We are relating to the body, speech, and mind of the figure all at once. Now, in order specifically to relate to the Sri Ramchandra's consciousness, we should note that it is the light without luminosity that we are asked to meditate in the heart where the heart beats. It is necessary to have this pure motivation to love the Master who loves all in order that we progress in the path as part and parcel of the humanity. And it is the whole of humanity that needs to evolve into the category of real man. Take a pause here. Anything you want to add, sir?
Right. Very clear cut.
Just that Master embodies the peace and all-encompassing love and complete compassion. Says that.
So these we when we are thinking about divine light without luminosity, or when we're thinking of it is the all-encompassing because in Indian Shastras they said neti neti, not this, not this. Even today I was reading a letter of Babuji talking about Advaita, Advaita. He says both is beyond both. That means it is as it is. So it is difficult to conceive, but if you have an idea that he is of the nature of love, and then nature is sacred, and then it is plainness, those ideas, when you use the word divine, these ideas automatically come to our mind. And he is all-pervasive nature and all that. So when we use say divine light, automatically these ideas should be present along with that divine word, divine light word. So then the mind also will become subtle like that infinite divinity. So mind will imbibe the qualities on whatever it is meditating. Suppose it is meditating on divine light, which is all pervasive, which is of the nature of balance, where there is no duality, the mind also will become like that. So basically, sir is talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
But this idea should be there. Otherwise, if mind doesn't have a correct conception about the nature of God, at least a subtle nature, and then if that, he didn't say only light in the heart, meditate on light in the heart. He used the word divine light in the heart. So when he uses the word divine light, automatically we feel God's nature is love without reason, nirhetuka kripa, compassion, and then justice, plainness, simplicity, bliss, tranquility. All those ideas automatically are associated with the word divine. That's why he used the word divine light. So unless you have these notions about divine in your mind in the beginning stages, then later on you will be liberated from all these notions about God. Initially, you have to have these notions about divinity. But later on, when you use the word divine light, a notion rehta, but actually it is much subtler than what all you can conceive actually. Conceptually, it's not possible to make a concept about God. It is neither existence nor non-existence. It is neither light nor darkness. Like that it is described now. Like I was recently very fond of Kabir's idea about Ram. Ram, he says, Ram is of 4 types, he says. Ek Ram Dasharath ke ghar dhole. He was born. And then he says, Ek Ram Har Ghat mein bole. That means he is living in the heart of all of us. Ek Ram ka sakal pasara. He says, one Ram is the universal energy which is running this earth and sun and the force which is causing the seasons, the plants to grow and all that. That is the universal energy. And the fourth Ram is Sabse Nyara. Is subtler than all these things which you can't even conceptualize. So actually, Babuji is when he says the word divine light without luminosity, it is very difficult to conceptualize an idea of divine light without luminosity. So God is so subtle. So unless you meditate on the subtle, you cannot become, your mind will not become subtle. And you cannot achieve, God cannot bring us up to his stage. When you are saying, oh Master, thou art the real goal of human life, and our wishes are obstructions, hindrances, and thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. So unless our mind becomes as subtle as divine mind, you cannot have mergence. And yoga is mergence. You do not know who is the subject, who is the object. So that's why people have to reflect, think deeply, whether what Sir has said, all these ideas are coming into their mind or not. It's not a ritualistic method. It is a lot of reflection has to be done. We have to constantly observe our own thoughts and feelings and compare with the thoughts of the master. And we should not give much importance to our thoughts, but compare whether it is in harmony with the idea of Babuji or not. And you always take whatever Babuji has said as the truth rather than your own knowledge about the subject. Okay, we'll
continue.
Yeah.
If we consider tranquility and the state of nothingness we are faced with during the meditation, the question whether such a state of nothingness is the real state we are to finally arrive at. Truly, the relaxation of the mind in this way is the beginning of tranquility. When we are meditating, we need to relax into a state of stillness, which is to say, where our mind is at rest, without impeding the mind's clarity or lucidity. And while we are practicing, there arises a variety of experiences. Some of them are lucid, some of them are not lucid. Among the experiences which arise, there are some that indicate defects in the meditation. To cope with wavering thoughts that arise in our minds during meditation is one of the problems we face. We are asked to ignore them, but we find them as versatile as flying clouds, or comparing them with the waves. They are as mighty as the waves of the ocean. We know the clouds and waves are not separate from the sky and ocean. We know that our minds move frantically in voidness, and we find it is not separating itself from the void. Yet the experience of void, there are more practical difficulties. Once we know that the initial stir or show and our mind are of the same nature, we can easily appreciate the thoughts and feelings which are not out in the open, but lying deep down in the heart and making us move on and on. Nearer the center, the waves are subtle yet very powerful and do not permit any peep into the sanctum. Master said he could have a peep and was pushed out. Another difficulty is the experience of torpor, which has two varieties. There is what we could call torpor itself, and there is obscurity, which is a further development of that. Torpor is the absence of clarity, the absence of any cognitive lucidity in the meditation, and obscurity is even beyond that, where there is a thick dullness. Now, the problem with torpor and obscurity is that they obviously bring about the disappearance of mindfulness and therefore of alertness as well. This cannot be confused with the state of nothingness, which we arrive at much later. The final state of nothingness is a direct awareness of nothingness. We may remind ourselves of the basic mathematical principle of zero. Everything in the world consists of positive and negative elements called by various names in various sciences. But it is zero that makes a thing positive or negative. This is what our master tried to explain in his philosophy. Zero is the essence of existence. Through both sides of zero, the whole manifestation happens. We experience nothingness or emptiness, and when look into that emptiness itself as an object and look for its essence again, we find that it is empty of inherent existence. This is what is termed by mystics as emptiness of emptiness. That is also the experience of many advanced persons amongst us. We'll take a pause here. Important distinction between the torpor and
Torpor is
nothing.
very common. I have seen many people, the moment they sit in meditation, they go into sleep-like condition. Because of the grossness inside them, they immediately go to sleep. Actually, that is a torpor. Actually. They are not meditating. They are in a state of torpor.
Yeah, emptiness and then again getting into the essence of emptiness again. So it's saying, right? Neti neti. Continue. Any questions? Continue. Another problem that arises in meditation may be called excitement. Excitement is when the lucidity of the mind becomes too intense and becomes conceptual. And therefore, the mind generates lots of thoughts, past, present, and future, and so on. They are so many and so intense that we cannot stop them or let go of them. Now, this can be either a pleasant or an unpleasant excitement. It could be excessive excitement in being too happy or too enthusiastic. Or it could be a feeling of deep unhappiness or discontentment. In either case, the result is the thoughts which distract us. Now, there are obviously a lot of things that can go wrong with meditation, but basically, all of them are included within these two types of defects, torpor and excitement. When we look at torpor, we need to use positive motivation to get rid of torpor, and that will be effective because the nature of torpor is a mental dullness, which is to some extent a lack of motivation. Therefore, recollecting the qualities of the master and recollecting the benefits of meditation can sometimes promote the clarity that will cut through the torpor. We should keep in mind that the form of emptiness is the emptiness of the form. The form of emptiness is the emptiness of the form. Keeping the master in mind always enables us to know this form of emptiness as the state of devotion to master. This is the state we find when the awareness of ourself and that of the master is had, and we are not able to distinguish between the two. Out of supreme love, they appear to swallow up each other, but feel separate again for the joy of being two. They are not completely the same, but neither are they different. Remembering the Master, Pujya Babuji Maharaj, while we are feeling void, is a superior method of constant remembrance. This is what I called earlier as being aware of the Master in his presence. While offering prayer, we naturally invoke the Master, and if we do not dwell in the thoughts expressed in the prayer and are unmindful of the words in the prayer, we do get into a state of torpor. Many aspirants have told me that they seem to get into the state of restfulness even as they were repeating the prayer. If we make a routine ritualistic recitation, we will get into a state of torpor and would commit the same mistake of doing japa or mantra recitation. I've tried to present the importance of proper motivation to practice the path and the ways in which we can handle some of the difficulties in sadhana based on my personal practice. I pray that all of us move in the path and spread the message of the Master. We have the blessings of the Master and we shall prove worthy of being his disciples. That concludes the chapter. Into
torpor के लिए suppose you are physically tired and then suppose you eat in too much of food. That's why sir used to, if you eat too much of rich food and all that, you feel heavy, you easily go into torpor. So you have to be conscious of what type of food you eat, sattvic food, so that which is, and not overfill your stomach so that you will feel light in the body. Then one of the ways by which you can avoid torpor, actually, apart from remembering third commandment, be restless to achieve the goal or whatever, thinking about the master, thinking about the ways he has served us, or thinking about disease or death also. You know that life is health is unstable. Anytime you can become unhealthy, and if you are unhealthy, you will not be able to use your mental resources to attract God towards you. So if you generate a sense of restlessness or preciousness of life also, you will get out of torpor, actually. So several ways of getting out of torpor.
Any questions? Because these are important things, torpor and excitement.
Yeah, sir, actually, so I think first sir talked about torpor. And I think from torpor, we are then moving into the state of excitement, right? I think we get excited, whether it is job, home, anything that's
Yeah.
happening exciting. So I think there's a whole state of excitement. But I think he's saying that even that actually is
Is an obstruction. Yes.
an obstruction,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Sometimes we get excessively excited about something.
Yeah. That's an obstruction. So for that, cleaning the trainer can help. And then if you get up early in the morning, or if you do bedtime properly, and then depend or surrender to prayer, surrendering to Master, submissive attitude, remembering fifth commandment or seventh commandment, read that literature, then excitement will come down. Or if you, most of it is related to a job, or unfulfillment. You see, man thinks he's happy if his desires are fulfilled. If desires are not fulfilled, he'll feel unhappy, and unhappiness leads to restlessness. How to so then that leads to, if you can study the master and then follow his techniques, this restlessness should not be there. Especially if you do bedtime prayer properly, and then point B meditation, if you do, sensuousness will go, desires will go. Then when the desires become less, restlessness also will not be there.
Right.
Cleaning properly and taking the help of the trainer, and then following the method properly. But in majority of the abhyasis in our system who are seriously doing the meditation properly with proper prayer, generally very quickly, in few months' time, the mind achieves a state of what is called sham. Sham is a continuous state of tranquility is there. And transmission also helps quite a lot. It will help you to, it will divert the tendencies of the mind towards God. When the mind is diverted towards God, automatically restlessness will come down. The beginning stages, this restlessness may be there. Or if the person's goal clarity is not there, then the external environmental circumstances will jump into your mind, and then excite the already existing tendencies will get excited, and then the mind will be overrun with thoughts. Suppose you nurture thoughts of divinity, so divine thoughts will be there in the atmosphere, they'll get attracted towards you. Suppose you're anxious and restless, the whole environment, anxious thoughts will be attracted towards you. So all those things are there.
Also, sir, this remembering the Master Pujya Babuji Maharaj, sir has written this a few times also. While we are feeling void is a superior method of constant.
That is true in the sense, when you initially itself, like now, I can now immediately think of the divine light, I will feel immediately the peace descending in my consciousness. Even in that peace, if you can maintain his thought of his presence, then that is Babuji's sir's view, it's a superior kind of constant. Generally, what happens, we tend to retain that state of tranquility and calmness. That is also, that calmness is coming because of the presence of God inside you. But that time you enjoy that peace. So sir says, during that enjoyment of peace, if you can consciously try to remember, which is after some time is not possible because that goes into subconscious mind again. That becomes fainter, and then it moves into nothingness. So that's a practice you have to do. You'll discover your own experiences if you practice correctly. Unless you do the practice, you'll not be able to understand what sir is trying to tell. Whether it is possible, whether it is not possible. If possible, what is the state of mind which happens into your mind when you think of him, when you feel his presence inside your system, and then feeling his presence, trying to retain consciously the remembrance of the master, how far it is possible. Because generally what happens, the layavastha happens, the remembrance merges into you. Like, for example, if the seasons change, suppose summer comes, the essence of summer percolates into all the trees and branches, shrubs become dry and all that. It becomes one with the whole thing. So like that, a particular state of mind, seeps into your whole consciousness and you become one with that condition. But Sir is asking us to consciously remember even when you're having oneness or something like that. Beginning stages, it will be possible. Later on, you merge and only nothingness will remain. You will not be conscious of your physical body or your mind also. Only when your mind is active, you can consciously think of him.
Yeah.
Mind itself is absorbed in a particular thought, as it happens in meditation, which we call absorption. Then practically it's not possible. But in day-to-day life, when you're not meditating, it is possible to consciously retain that feeling of his presence.
And this is also a form of emptiness, is the emptiness of the form. I think it's
Emptiness, this is a very famous Buddhist concept actually, which emptiness ante వాళ్ళు అనేది there will be no such thing called essence in anything. Everything hangs on everything else. Like suppose I become aware of myself when I become aware of your presence. So if you're not there, I will not conscious of my subject actually. So no essential essence in any object. Every object is for your cognizance as a separate object from multiple objects requires the presence of other objects. So essentially, they say it is empty. So even the awareness, but in majority of the people, it is just a conceptual idea, not a real experience. And when that concept also drops off, then you can call it as emptiness of emptiness.
That is true, sir. Like, I mean, when we are alone at home, you're lost unless you see yourself in a mirror or something like that. Then the awareness comes. Otherwise, you're breathing. It's going on.
Normally, when you're working or playing a game or engaged in any activity wholeheartedly, you will be in the process. You will not have a feeling that you are the doer actually.
Yeah.
You become aware of the doer when somebody blames or praises you, or when you're afflicted by thoughts of worries and anxieties, you become aware of your ego.
Right.
If you're in harmony with nature, you're friendly with everybody, you're relaxed, in a jolly mood and all that. So then you just enjoy. It's a joyous way. But only when worries and anxieties are there, ego will be there. Or if anybody praises or blames you, become aware of your ego. But that ego has to go away totally. That is what the aim of all spiritual sadhana is, to achieve negation of that ego. Awareness that you are a independent agency who is responsible. Like I'm a surgeon, I am doing the surgery. Whereas actually the energy which I've eaten by food which I'm taking, that food is come as a rice or wheat which has captured the sun's energy due to photosynthesis. That energy is actually causing my hand muscles to move during surgery. Actually, so you have to finally attribute that the surgery I'm doing is being done by the sun, because sun has captured through photosynthesis by chlorophyll, and then it becomes carbohydrate as grains, and then grain I've eaten, that is burned by the mitochondria in my cell, and then that causes the muscles to contract, and then I'm operating. Truly speaking, it is that energy which is doing. But we feel that I am the doer. So so whole meditation exercise is to get rid of the false idea that you are the doer. It is falsity actually. Truth is
Emptiness of the form, basically. Emptiness of
truth.
the form.
Truth is it's a divine energy only. In this, I gave an example of sun, but sun is also is supported by God, no? So God's energy is causing the sun to cause that hydrogen or deuterium or fusion reaction to happen and all that. So truth is that energy is working, but you don't you feel that you are the doer actually.
Mm.
So as, this is called the sense of identity or the doership feeling, kartutva bhava.
Mm.
So the whole idea of meditation is to that get rid of this wrong view which you have in your mind about yourself. That's the whole idea of meditation.
Mm. No,
Once that is
emptiness.
there, you're in bliss. You got total freedom. I mean, you're not, even if the water supply is not there, even the sun AC is not working, your mind is not disturbed, right? I mean, you're unconditionally, you're happy. You'll be in a blissful state, irrespective of external conditions. So it is the mind is the most important thing. Anything else? The Mukesh has sent that, I really like that thing. In Hindi, the chat is gone.
एक राम दशरथ का बेटा, एक राम गटगट में बैठा, एक राम का सकल पसारा, एक राम सबहू ते न्यारा,
सबसे न्यारा. That
सबसे
means
न्यारा.
subtler than all these three Rams.
Hmm.
That is almost akin to divine light without luminosity. Subtlest Babuji has but Kabir is asking us, when you're thinking about Ram, think about the fourth Ram.
जग में चार राम है, तीन सकल व्यवहार, चौथा राम नीच सार है, उसको करो विचार. हाँ, नीच सार, जिस द रियल एसेंस, उसका करो विचार.
So if you can tell your children or friends and relatives who go to Ram Mandir and all that, tell them that there are four kinds of Rams. And when you look at the statue, don't think that statue itself is God, but then statue should make you make your mind concentrated on the all-pervading presence of God, and then your visit will be beneficial. Otherwise, it adds to your grossness, and then your spiritual, it leads to spiritual suicide actually.
Yeah, yes, sir. This is something very, I think, because when we go to the temple, we seem to be lost. And I mean, I think this.
No, people who are meditating will know, but people who do have no experience of meditation, because I studied MBBS in Tirupati. I know people when they go to the temple, they feel that statue itself as a living God only.
Right.
Actually, when you look at the statue, your mind should get concentrated and it should be able to think about the all-pervasive God. It is just to attract your attention so that your mind will be diverted towards the all-pervasive divine presence actually. That is the purpose of a statue. It is a symbol to make you remember him. But what is a symbol itself, they consider it as a reality or as a God itself, which is a very grossest way of worship, which has got its own dangerous consequences.
So mentions, right? Excitement. So this is what we see. People were going to like, okay, temple, there is an excitement. Oh, I have to go here and I will feel great and things like that. So.
No, that is not that excitement which sir is talking. That excitement generally will be proliferation of too many thoughts will be there. There, some of them because of the music and then bhajan songs are there. It's a they may be tranquil state also. They'll be enjoying some music and all that. The most of the temples there, you feel peaceful because of all the people will be during that time harboring good thoughts only. So you'll feel peaceful. But the excitement which sir is talking is a proliferation of even good or bad thoughts.
Okay.
It's possible they may get excited to, instead of seeing God, they may be excited to see some VIPs or some film actors or whatever. Excited to meet their old family friends and then relatives. They'll be coming there. So they will be more excited to meet their relatives rather than remembering God there. In that sense, excitement may be correct. Anything else?
No,
If not,
we'll get next Sunday.
yeah, we'll meet next Sunday.